Hello viewers. Now, building a trading bot is one thing, but living with it in the real world day to day, I can tell you from experience, is completely another. Now, most of you out there think building a trading bot is just about finding a nice looking chart, plug it into a broker and off you go. And I can tell you that's going to get you into big trouble and probably blow your account, because so many things can go wrong on a day-to-day basis, whether that's broker feeds, data allowances, storage, whatever. There's so many things that can blow you up. Now, in this video, I'm going to give you 12 of the most common problems and also 12 solutions to help you if you're thinking about building your trading bots to make it a lot safer, a lot more secure, and a lot more profitable. So let's get into it. So a bit of a reality check here. Backtest world, it's a controlled environment. Live market simply are not. In a backtest, data's already there. The orders, always execute. The bot never disconnects. The broker never rejects. The machine never crashes. But like we know in the real world, all those things can happen. So a serious Renko bot or trading bot is not just a strategy. It's a small trading operations platform. So we're now going to cover off 12 major problems you're going to face over the lifetime of your trading bot, and also some solutions to help you resolve those issues. The first major issue is state. A live bot cannot wake up every morning like it has never traded before. It needs to know where it left off. With a Renko bot, your trading bot, this is critical. It must remember the last brick close, the brick direction, the current signal, whether it's already in a trade, and whether there are any pending orders. Without a decent memory, a restart can become dangerous. So the practical fix, well, use a state database. This fix is simple. Your bot needs a database. Now, for a local Python trading bot, SQLite is a very sensible starting point. You do not need an enterprise database from day one. Use it to store the current bot state, latest Renko values, signals, orders, fills, rejected orders, position status and heartbeat, and the bot should be able to restart and immediately know what it's doing. So a common beginner mistake here is rebuilding the entire Renko chart every few seconds. That might work with one market in a demo, but it won't work if you want to scale up to multiple markets. It's going to be slow, wasteful and fragile. And a real bot should not rebuild the whole world every time a new price arrives. So how do we fix that? Well, we use an incremental Renko engine. That's the right approach. The bot receives a new price. It checks whether that price forms a new Renko brick. Sometimes it forms no brick, sometimes one, sometimes several if price moves quickly. Then it updates the Renko state and only recalculates what actually changed. That is how you move from a research script to a proper live engine. Renko is not a normal based time chart. That is both its strength and its danger. A Renko chart built from TradingView may not match one built from broker data. A chart built from tick data may not match one built from minute candles. So your live bot needs one canonical Renko engine, one source of truth, one set of reversal rules. Otherwise, your backtest and live bot may be trading different systems. Now, if you're into Python code, this is one you might recognize. Well, I use Streamlit heavily for dashboards and trading tools. It's excellent for that, but Streamlit should not be the core live execution engine. The bot should run separately as a background process or service. Streamlit should read from the database and display what the bot is doing. In plain English, Streamlit is the cockpit. It is not the engine. So the practical fix is to separate the dashboard from the engine. The data comes in, the Renko engine updates the bricks, the signal engine checks the strategy, the risk engine decides whether the trade is allowed, the execution engine sends the order, the broker confirms what actually happened. Each part should have its own job. That is the clean bot architecture. Now, the broker is the final truth. Your bot may think it's flat. The broker may say it's long. Your bot may think an order failed. The broker may actually have filled it. This is where amateur bots become dangerous. Never blindly trust your internal state. Always reconcile with the broker. So what's the practical fix here? Well, a proper bot regularly asks the broker what is actually happening. What position is open? Are there working orders? Where any orders filled? Were any rejected? Does the broker position match the bot database? If not, the bot should stop trading, lock itself and alert you. That is not over engineering, that's just basic live trading safety. This one is one of the classic live bot failures. The bot sees a bullish signal and sends a buy order. The broker takes a moment to respond. The bot loop runs again, sees the same bullish signal and sends another buy order. Now you're oversized because the bot did not understand its own order state. That's not a strategy problem, that's an execution design problem. So how do we fix that? Well, the solution is an execution state machine. The bot should always know exactly where it is in the trade life cycle. If an order is pending, it should not send another one. If the broker status is unknown, it should not continue trading. If there is a mismatch, it should lock. This is how you stop a bot from behaving like a reckless script. For testing, opening a terminal and running a Python file is fine. For serious operation, it's not enough though. What happens if the script crashes? What happens if Windows updates? What happens if the process freezes? What happens if the internet drops? A bot that runs live needs process management. So we need a serious fix here, and we run it as a service. So on Windows, you can use Task Scheduler, NSSM, a PowerShell, Watchdog or Docker. On Linux, you might use Systemd or Supervisor. The point is simple. Something outside the bot should monitor whether the bot is alive. You also want automatic restarts, log files, alerts, and safe startup logic. A live bot needs supervision. So how do you know if your bot is still alive? Seems obvious, but a bot can look alive when it is not. The dashboard might still show an old chart, the window might still be open, but the engine may have stopped updating. That is why you need a heartbeat. That's the practical fix there. Every few seconds or every minute, the bot writes a fresh status update to the database. If that heartbeat goes stale, the watchdog alerts you. If something goes wrong, vague logs are useless. You do not want to see trade failed. You want to know the price, the brick, the signal, the order size, the broker response, the error message, and the position state. Logs are your black box recorder. Without proper logs, debugging a live bot becomes just guesswork. So how do we fix that? Well, it's structured logs. We've got to be using those. Every key event should be written clearly, timestamp, symbol, strategy, signal order, broker response, and state change. Use rotating log files so your logs do not grow forever. Logs are not glamorous, but they're what save you when something breaks. When you're working with one market, data feels easy, but when you start pulling hundreds of markets, data becomes a platform problem. You need raw data, clean data, Renko bricks, indicators, signals, trade logs, reports. Random CSV files in random folders will become mess very, very quickly, mark my words. So the proper fix is a proper data stack, and that looks something like this. You'd use Parquet for large historical market data, SQLite, or maybe PostgreSQL for bot state. Probably haven't pronounced that right. Orders, fields, and logs. Use DuckDB for local research queries. Use cloud storage like Amazon S3 for the historical archive when the data becomes large. The bot should not rely on messy folders. It needs a structured data system. Now, cloud storage is useful, but it's not magic. You do not want your live bot downloading years of history from the cloud every few seconds. The cloud should be the master library. The live bot should use a fast local cache for the active market. So in plain English, cloud stores the empire, but the bot trades from the desk in front of it. A simple strategy stop is not enough when you're running a bot. A live bot needs risk controls above the strategy. Maximum daily loss, maximum trades, maximum position size, maximum spread, maximum slippage, automatic lockout after repeated errors, and always a manual kill switch. If the bot cannot stop itself, it is just not ready to be, put into the real world. This is the key point. The strategy is only one layer. Serious bot includes data handling, Renko construction, signal generation, risk controls, execution logic, broker reconciliation, logging, state storage, dashboards, alerts, and recovery logic. That is the difference between a coding exercise and a live trading machine. You don't need to start with a huge institutional build. Start with Python, SQLite, Parquet, Streamlit, DuckDB, proper logs and Telegram alerts. Then later, when the system matures, you can add that PostgreSQL, cloud storage, Docker, VPS hosting and a more professional deployment stack. So don't overbuild too early, but do build properly. So there you go. There's 12 traps that you might fall into if you're building your Renko bot yourself. And hopefully I've given you some solutions to get yourself around those problems. Let me know in the comments below whether you build your own bots. What issues do you face? Have I missed any key ones you would have raised? Love to hear your thoughts there. Now, also, if you want to build a Renko bot very properly, I've got a great course out at the moment called Renko Bot Build. I'll put the links to that in the description below. Currently on sale from $199 down to $149 for the month of May. Great course. It's definitely going to teach you how to build a bot properly. So anyway, if you have liked the video, please give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and notification buttons, and a big thank you for joining me in this video, and I hope to see you soon in the next one.